about security. The first thing we need to do is to define what we mean by security. This is because when two people are talking about security, they could be meaning two different things. For example, a bank might be concerned with the physical security of the physical assets like cash, gold, and other things that are stored in its vault. They want to protect these against those who might want to steal it. Information security is another area of security, but of something very different. It's security of information. Information these days is very important. Your passwords, for example, are information that you would rather not have someone else know about because they are quite powerful and grant you access to all kinds of things. When we're talking about Wi-Fi penetration testing, the kind of security that we're interested in is information security. Now, we can further subdivide information security into things like system security, network security, and physical security. So, for example, you have a PC, there's some information in it that you would like to be secure. That's why you log into your PC and you don't just let anyone access your PC because there's valuable information in it. Logging into a PC is one of the aspects of what is known as system security. Besides system security, there's also physical security. So maybe your PC, you lock it to your desk and you don't make it easy for people to just grab your PC and bring it somewhere else where they can slowly break the system security measures that might be in it. So that's an example of physical security. Network security is the area where we are most concerned with when we're talking about Wi-Fi penetration testing, because network security is about security of information as it's being transmitted over a network. So how secure is the network communications? We want to protect against various kinds of vulnerabilities because attackers can find ways to exploit such vulnerabilities. So for example, when we have wireless networks, you can imagine some other receiver that's not really your intended receiver listening to the signals that you're transmitting. If these signals are not encrypted, they can see what you're sending. That's why, for example, you need to encrypt if you don't want them to know what it is you're sending. Now, it's a hard problem for various reasons. One being that there's so many different ways that attackers can try to attack the system, and there's many different possible vulnerabilities. Another reason why it's hard is that it's kind of a negative problem. You're trying to avoid the system being vulnerable in all these different ways, but they just have to find one way in which it's vulnerable and then they can attack it. Furthermore, the attackers are not going to tell you when they find a vulnerability. Well, maybe they might want to boast to their friends, but what I'm saying is that sometimes it's better for them if you don't know and they can keep exploiting that particular vulnerability and stealing your data or doing other things that you actually don't want them to be doing with your precious information. Alright, so Wi-Fi security is about network security. We can be even more precise when we're talking about network security, and to do that, we need to consider the kinds of vulnerabilities that may exist when we're communicating over a network, and then how we can protect against these vulnerabilities. So the first thing that we might want to protect against is people listening to the traffic that's going over the network. So that's known as eavesdropping, and we want to protect against eavesdropping. The the technical term for this is that we want to provide confidentiality services or secrecy services so that the traffic is confidential and it's not something that an attacker can just see by just eavesdropping on the channel. Another thing that an attacker can do, so let's say the attacker is not able to see the traffic because it's encrypted and so it's confidential. The attacker could try to impersonate another device and that way then be able to try to trick the other side, the sender, to send information to the attacker. To protect against that, we need proper authentication. So you authenticate who the other side is. A third major way that an attacker can try to attack your network communications is by altering messages that are going over the network. And this could be done in order to break your eavesdropping protection or your impersonation protection. And so we also need to ensure the integrity of the data, meaning that if the data is not altered, then we can trust it, whereas if it has been altered, we would like to know and that we don't make use of altered data.